𝗪𝗵𝗲 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Voice of CA Pakistan, an initiative of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. My name is 𝗪𝗵𝗲 and I'm the chairman of Northern Regional Committee of ICAP. And with us today, we have 𝗧𝗵𝗲, who is a seasoned chartered accountant working as Director of Business Control, Next Generation Services at Tetra Pak International. He has worked for more than 10 years at a global role. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, 𝗧𝗵𝗲.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Anil, for having me. Always a pleasure to be here and looking forward to contribute however I can.
Thank you so much. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, today I want to talk to you about the future of Pakistan's industry and its impact on the economy of Pakistan. So, first I want to ask that we have seen our industry regress in the past years. It has seen a continuous reduction and downfall. So in your opinion, what is the future looking like for the industry in Pakistan?
I think it's the future will depend on a lot of things that we as a nation plan to do. Because right now, as you said, because of the power crisis, because of the liquidity crunch, a lot of industry has moved out. But now it's also kind of a clean slate for us to see what kind of the future economy that we want to have. Because for us, industry has usually been sectors like textile, cement, auto, but that's not the growth sectors in the world. The growth sectors in the world are based on the knowledge economy. The future of our industry will depend quite a lot on what we plan to do from this point forward, and which parts of the industry that we want to focus on. Traditionally, mostly we have focused on, when we say industry, we focus on things like textile, cement, auto sector.
Yes.
And if we want to focus on those, the thing is that those sectors are going downwards globally as well. But the other sectors that are based on the knowledge economy, if we focus on them, we have a very low baseline for those. If we want to grow in the IT sector, in AI and others, banking, etc., we still have a very low baseline. Unfortunately, because we haven't considered them as part of the industry, our policies are not geared towards them. So for example, for the export sector, we have schemes like DTRE, which makes it easier to import, add value and export. For the IT sector, we made it very incredibly difficult to pay things like Microsoft subscriptions or SAP subscriptions, etc. So that's kind of the things that we need to decide as a country, and as our leadership needs to decide that how do we want to rebuild the industry of this country.
So basically, what I understand is our focus has been, unfortunately, on the industries which have been going through a downfall at a global level. So it's not just Pakistan, they're seeing downward trend everywhere in the world. And secondly, I think these are the industries which are not exactly service-related industries, so they are more into the manufacturing side. So in your opinion, if we want to blame certain policies or focuses or certain areas, what are the top 3 reasons why we are not able to focus in the right areas?
I think we as a nation like to find a boogeyman very much. We like to find one thing that, oh, this was the reason. But there's a complex web of reasons behind this. And if I give them one term, that's the misallocation of resources that has happened in our country. And we see that if you look at any crisis that we have, if you go to the bottom of it, the power sector circular debt. It's basically a crisis right now because we are subsidizing the power distribution companies through taxpayer money. So that's a crisis. Otherwise, if we were not doing it, those power distributors will go out of power business and someone else will step in. The allocation will fix itself. So similarly like this, if we wanted to grow in the knowledge economy, we would have spent a lot on human capital. We would have spent on education, what India did about 10 or 15 years ago.
Yes.
When we made fun of them, they have call centers and etc. And now they are not just the outsourcing capital of the world. They are creating new products.
Yes.
And if we decide now to do it, it will take us 10 years, or if we do it really efficiently, it will take us maybe 5 years, more years to get into that point. So I think we need to really get our resource allocation really on spot. And one very easy way to do this is right now we are embarking on an IMF program. Just do what the IMF says.
Okay.
They know what a reasonable country should do. It's not going to be very popular, and that's again part of the reason that we have misallocated resources is that we want to be popular, our leaders want to be popular, but that is a prescription to actually start building something. And then when we have that something, we can decide which sectors that we want to really boost and take off.
Okay, so that's a very interesting take on IMF. I think you're the first person probably who has said this publicly, that just accept what they are saying and do not tinker with it. I understand, obviously, probably there's a basis for saying that, but I think a lot of people, I'm sure, will have their opinions about it. So if we talk about the future now, so technology is something which we cannot shy away from. How do you think technology is going to play the role in Pakistan in shaping our industry? And are we well placed to utilize the technology that we have in the world?
I think one thing that a lot of developed countries are finding out right now is that because of the demand of technology in the global world, the cost of the human resources is very, very high in the outside a small bunch of countries now. And that's leading to really where there is development in human capital, we see a very sharp increase in the investment that's coming. An example is Rwanda. It was a country that was suffering from civil wars a couple of years ago. But since they've started investing in human capital, the global business elite, they are smart. They know that, okay, if we want to get something done, I'll pay €250,000 in for this in California. I can get this in 1/10 of that in Pakistan or Rwanda.
Yes.
So there are buyers out there, but we have to spend on the human capital first. It's not a chicken and the egg problem that first we get the order and then we will start preparing engineers to do that. So first we need to, and to an extent we have started doing that. I think it needs to happen on a much larger scale because there are other problems happening right now, like out of school children, which actually disrupt our talent supply lines. So that's the first thing that we need to do. And another thing that a lot of people in Pakistan don't realize is that because of our infrastructure being so low tech, it's a very good opportunity for us to leapfrog quite a lot of steps that other countries had to do.
Yes.
An example is that countries went from banks to credit cards, and then they are going to mobile wallets and etc. We don't need to go through all that. Today we have more JazzCash and Telenor accounts than credit cards.
Yes.
So this kind of leapfrogging can happen in a lot of sectors. When we look at programming, for example, we don't need C++ or C# programmers anymore. We don't need back-end programmers anymore. We need more people who can work on AI, and we need more people who can work on these new natural language programming software. So that's a really good opportunity for us right now.
So yes, you spoke about that we do not have to reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of things which are already existing in the world. We just simply have to adopt them. We have obviously the understanding of those things. We do not need to go through the whole cycle. But interestingly, I think when all those countries have reached a certain level through a certain process, with that, obviously their human capital got developed along the way.
Yes.
So the challenge I understand is not the technology, but it's more the human capital which you mentioned, in which you want us to invest. So in that area, I have another tricky question. You see, a lot of industries have left Pakistan. A lot of businesses have left Pakistan. There's a lot of brain drain that has happened in Pakistan. How do you suggest we can bring back those industries, businesses, those brains that are now probably well settled in other countries?
Well, I think the best way to look at that is to look at the industries that have not left Pakistan. And what did we do for them? And one of those is the IPP industry. Because we gave them long-term contracts, we gave them stability, we gave them consistency of results, and they are still here. I've spoken to a lot of industrialists or a lot of investors, and their problems with Pakistan are not about taxation. They're not about energy costs. They're not about instability. Their main problem is about inconsistency of policy. We decide something, and that's something again that we blame on the IMF. But the thing is that our initial policies are not right. That's why we have these snap policies to redo things. One thing that's really doing the rounds these days on the news cycles is what's the new solar net metering policy is going to be. So if I am someone who has invested just 2 million rupees or 1 million rupees a couple of years ago, and I don't have a roadmap of what my return is going to be, I'm not going to invest $70 or $80 million in a plant here. So we need to sit down with the people who want to come in, like we did with the IPPs, and we need to give them some sort of consistency of policy. and that has to happen by on a sector to sector basis. Sectors have shared what they want, but we need to give them, and we don't need to give them whatever they want, but we need to give them something that's consistent, that this is our offer, it's valid for the next 7 or 8 years. If you like it, please invest. If you don't, we'll find another investor.
Absolutely spot on. So when we talk about focusing on what we have done right and learning lessons from that, do you think ICAP in any way, and then through ICAP obviously the chartered accountants, have a role to play in this revival of industry and helping Pakistan's economy?
I think ICAP has a very strong role to play, and one thing that ICAP does very often and very frequently is we get our voice heard at the tax policy level. We get when the budgets and many budgets are coming. I think we have a much bigger role to play now in the tax administration side of it. And that's something that I know a lot of good people working in the tax bureaucracy, but I think it's very hard to change to come from the tax bureaucracy inside. When the changes have come, they've come from IMF programs, when we implemented 𝗍𝗑𝗏, when we had this the linking of land transactions, etc. That's something that ICAP and chartered accountants can really impact quite a lot. And we have a blank slate. There are very few filers here. So we need to think about what do we want to do? Do we want to make them first all filers and then make sure that they are correct filers? Or do we want to skip that step and go to make sure that it's the correct filer, correct taxes coming in? So I think that's a very big area that ICAP can impact.
So on top of the tax area, any other area you think ICAP can focus on when it comes to raising awareness?
I think the awareness is quite there. I'm really encouraged about seeing the fintech sector of Pakistan. It's really growing. Unfortunately, it hasn't come from the banking side, which it should have, but it's come from from the FMCG side. So I think that's something also that that ICAP can focus on how do we build financial inclusion. Today, when people have to do their taxes or have to do their get business advice, they don't think about going to a chartered accountant. Small businesses, not the medium and large size. They think about going to a lawyer or stuff like that. So I think if with more outreach, we can really build this awareness that any small business can benefit from good business acumen and good business advice.
Thank you very much, 𝗪𝗲. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the first episode of our session. See you all next week for the second session. Thank you very much.